Today, we are in the woods, somewhere in Big Bear, reading Reddit stories and ranking them on a scale from 1 to 10. 1, that we could do that in our sleep. 10, being I'd rather cry in the corner.
I'll pee myself.
Yeah. So basically, we're going to read through 7 Reddit stories I believe we have.
Yeah.
Rank them and, kind of see how scared we get in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
Okay, so story number 1 is called I Time Slipped in Big Bear. I went on a day trip with 2 of my friends to Big Bear Lake to hang out and snowboard. It was a regular beautiful day. We left to Big Bear around 5 a.m., got to the mountain and to Summit to park around 7:30. We got redirected to park down the road a couple miles to a parking lot. We followed the signs and made it to a huge gravel lot with no buildings around, just porta potties and the area the trams pick everyone up to head to Bear Summit. When we entered the lot, we were facing away from the mountain towards the direction of the lake. The tail of the truck was facing the mountain summit. We got on the tram and went up the mountain for a day of snowboarding and hanging out. It was a great day. I stayed in the bar area waiting for my 2 friends to come down after snowboarding. Both of my friends came down to join me in the bar. We hung out and talked. As I was sitting in my stool, an older, nice lady came up to me and asked if she could sit, since there were no seats and the place was packed. I gave her my friend's seat and she hung out with me and my friends while her kids were up on the mountain snowboarding. It was around 3 p.m. One of my friends went back up the mountain to do some more snowboarding. He only had 1 hour left before his lift ticket ran out. Me and my friend and the lady are sitting talking for a good hour with her kids and her. It was around 3:15 and she goes, "We have to go." I got sad inside that she had to leave. I was having a really nice time just talking. This is where it happens. As she and her kids are walking out of the bar and into the blizzard snow outside, me and the lady both looked at each other for a moment as I was sitting on a stool. We said goodbye silently to each other. I looked into her eyes and boom, I instantly went from sitting on a stool in a bar to an empty gravel parking lot nighttime. I physically felt the shift and had to catch myself from falling because I was in a sitting position and then landing in a parking lot. All I hear is the gravel smashing under my feet as if I fell out of nowhere. I instantly had my hand up to catch my balance and look forward, and both my friends were about 10 feet in front of me walking to the truck. The truck was in a different location now, facing the mountain summit. I could see the lights that light up the mountain. I was so in shock I couldn't believe it and started yelling at my friends that this isn't the right lot. We didn't park here. They instantly got mad at me and argued. They said, "This is the lot we parked at, the only lot." I go, "No, we parked far over there, away from the mountain in another lot." They were still angry with me, so I just stayed quiet and realized what happened. And no one would believe me since I couldn't ask my friends as they were packing their gear. I walked around dumbfounded what had just happened and asked other people in the lot if they remember parking in the lot. They all thought I hit my head and I was going crazy. It was the worst feeling I'd ever felt. I felt so alone. But wait, this is where it gets interesting. I screenshotted a pic of the map of the area. It was at 5:56 p.m. I lost about 3 hours of time, but I instantly jumped from the bar up in the mountain to the gravel lot on both feet. Well, it bothered me for a couple weeks to ask my friends about what happened up on the mountain. I finally asked one of my friends how I was when we were at the bar because I have no memory of how I got down the mountain. He goes, "You were fine. We were all talking and we got to the shuttle and went down the mountain. To the lot in my mind, I know for a fact that wasn't me talking with my friends from the point the lady left to when I got to the lot. So it must have been another me that was taking my place with my friends. Then I was shot back into that reality of a different lot." That's basically the story.
Oh, that's the story?
Yeah. A few questions about it. Was he drinking at the bar?
I was gonna ask that. He could have passed out.
It could have just, messed up his memory.
Yeah.
Is it really scary, though? Not really. So I guess we can both rate it at the same time out of 10. All right, on go.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
3. So on go.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah.
Oh, we'll do
After
it again.
1.
We'll do it again.
After 1.
Okay, yeah.
We're going to both rate it at the same time.
All right.
3, 2, 1, 4.
3. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll give it a 3.5 then.
Yeah. Yeah, for that story. Our second story. So, around Easter 2008, my 2 best friends and I went on a brocation. That's what we're doing. John's family had a cabin at Big Bear that we were welcome to stay at for the weekend. It has a beautiful cabin-style home with views of the lake and forested area behind the house. We did not spend much time in the cabin due to being young and adventurous. Our days were spent driving to the main street to eat and walk around. On one of those days, around lunchtime, we parked a block or so from the main street. Anthony had to use the restroom and decided to make use of a forested area we parked next to. John and I continued to walk toward the main street. What happened next is by far the most frightening thing I've ever witnessed, and I'm a veteran. I will never forget what occurred. The main street was not crowded, but obviously busy with people going about their day. Both of us catch a glimpse of a little girl holding her mother's hand. but this was no child. The girl was wearing a puffy pink coat and her black hair was long and straight. Her face was pale and skeletal. What caught our attention was her eyes, or lack of. Where her eyes should have been were empty black pits. We stand frozen in a moment, trying to grasp and rationalize what we were seeing. That instant, the girl turns her head and looks directly at us. As this happens, John and I grab each other and turn our heads as if blinded by a light. The feeling when she looked at us was as if she was truly looking through us and burned as she did. When we looked back, it was gone.
That's story number 2. That one's pretty freaky. If I saw something like that, like a skeletal little girl,
Looking straight at me?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I'm done for.
Done.
Would I cry in the corner though? I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that would make me cry in the corner.
If you saw a girl with like white skeletal face, black for eyes, look at you.
I don't know. But yeah, no, don't think I would cry in the corner. But let's give our ratings. 3, 2, 1, 9.
Oh, okay.
Now on to story number 3. My family owns a cabin we bought in 2009 that was built in 1932. I remember my father, who was a no BS, very typical macho Mexican man, and my mother didn't feel comfortable in the house. When I was little, I would sleep in the attic. I remember waking up every night to tell my parents that I saw Jack Skellington standing in the doorway to my bedroom in the attic. This got so bad my father had enough of it and decided to spend a few nights up there himself. He never told me what happened up there, but I remember one night him stomping down the stairs and ushering us out of the house into a nearby hotel. The following day or two, my dad and his mother went up through the whole house burning sage. We still own the property but haven't been back since.
For me, I can relate to that one a little bit because I feel like my dad is the same. He like just doesn't believe in ghosts. So if I was in that same position where like I feel like I see something, like maybe it's like shadow figure or like my eyes are playing with me, but then my dad's the one that does that and he has that reaction, I would be freaked out because like I feel like so little that would be able to convince him like that.
3, 2, 1, 6.
Hey, nice. This is story number 4 now. So this story, I found an animal sacrifice at the Eye of God. I'm curious if anyone has any info about ritual sacrifices or weird things happening at the Eye of God monument up by Baldwin Lake. Yesterday, my family and I ended up hiking Eye of God kind of by happenstance. And we found what looked like the carcass of an animal sacrifice. It looked like it had been there a very long time, almost completely decomposed to the skeleton. It was in a pit that was dug out and lined with quartz stones. Black fur and scraps of fabric were scattered around the area. It looked like the body was maybe buried at some point and animals dug it up and pulled it out. Either that or it was just laid in a ditch lined by stones. It was up along the side of the quartz monolith. It was big. Whatever it was at least the size of a German Shepherd. We only could see the spine, pelvis, and legs. Honestly, the position and size of the bones looked human at first, but based on the pelvis, we think it wasn't human. Of course, right after finding it, the thunder kicked in and things were feeling kind of creepy. So we took off. Our whole rest of the day was struck with bad luck, including a drained car battery. So the whole experience was just weird. We went up there on a recommendation from a friend, and we were actually trying to get to the Crystal Mountain hike. But we couldn't find it and ended up doing the Eye of God instead, without knowing anything about it or the history of the site. So it was just weird all around, ending up there and finding this scene. I've been to many native sites across California and the Southwest and never saw anything like that before. We reported it to the forest ranger on our way out, and she said no one had reported it yet. She said weird things happen up at that site all the time. I saw another post here that mentioned a ghost that haunts that area. Maybe there is a ghost that haunts that area. All right.
Is that story?
Yeah.
Few questions.
Yeah.
They obviously said looked like it was human bones.
Yeah.
Do they know anything about bones? Like have they ever studied bones in their life? What if it was Bigfoot?
He just found Bigfoot that just got sacrificed to a ritual. That's why we never find Bigfoot. They just keep getting sacrificed. Yeah, I feel like it'd be scarier if like stuff started happening afterwards.
I got one.
I think I got one. Yep.
3, 2, 1, 5. Am I allowed to change my ratings? I want to change my ratings.
Nah, wow. Yeah, change it. What's your new rating?
I want this one down to a 3. All right, story number 5 is titled, I had a very strange experience in the woods of Big Bear Lake. This particular event happened to me when I was around 10 or 11 years old, but I've been visiting my grandma's cabin in Big Bear Lake several times a year ever since I was a child. This isn't the first paranormal event I've experienced there, but it is definitely the most memorable. A little backstory. My grandma's cabin sits at the edge of a cul-de-sac, right at the edge of a mostly vast, unpopulated stretch of forest. No matter what I do or how I'm feeling, I always have a very strong sensation that I'm being watched. I've seen shadow creatures many times in this cabin. I've heard strange knocking, whispers, and just generally feel like there is something else living with us there. My grandma has told me of similar experiences and has warned me before that if I ever get a strange feeling when I'm walking in the forest to go home immediately, but she never elaborated. Anyways, me, my dad, and my uncle were walking on a trail that we've been on hundreds of times before. When we reached the first peak of the hill that we usually like to stop and look out at the view from, my dad and uncle wanted to keep hiking for a bit, but I decided to go back to the cabin on my own, as it was only 5 to 10 minutes away. I head down the usual path that I go on, not thinking too much about it, when I realize that I have no idea where I am. Everything looked the same as usual, but something was wrong. The normal path was different in a way. I can't really explain it. It seemed to be 10 times as long as usual. Everything was silent, and there was absolutely no wildlife around me, not even a squirrel. I kept having all of these morbid thoughts coming into my head about how I was lost forever, or how some sort of creature was going to swoop me up. Every 10 minutes or so, I would end up at a part of the trail that I definitely recognize, only to be in a completely alien area moments later. The path kept winding and winding downhill, and the sun was setting pretty rapidly. I had to have been walking in the direction of the cabin for more than an hour, because I remember I kept checking my watch and panicking. At this point, I just accepted that I was lost. I finally made it down the street and I was relieved to be able to orient myself, but it was only one street away from the cabin, although I should have been much further away. I was expecting my father and uncle to be home by now, and for my parents to be worried about me being gone so long. But instead, my mom asked me why I came back so soon. I asked my dad how long they were out as well, and they said they only walked maybe 15 minutes longer from when I left them. I don't know if I'm just reading into this too much, and if I was just a kid with different perceptions, but something definitely felt off about the whole ordeal. Now, to add to this story,
Okay.
because this was a story I read on Reddit a few years ago. That one's since been deleted, but someone re-uploaded this, and a few parts that I remember
Okay.
that weren't up, like in this one,
Yeah.
was leading into like the whole like jinn theory,
Okay.
talking about kind of like another like time slip where he was in like a different or like parallel universe or something, and they were just leading him in like the same circle like over and over again, and somehow he got out of it. Yeah, that one's definitely pretty,
That one, yeah.
especially
Spooky.
yeah, like being out there that long where you're like they're gonna be worried sick about me. I'm been gone over an hour now since I left them. But yeah, for me it's just that feeling of being lost,
Yeah.
and it's something that like I feel like is hard to come back from.
Did it say at all if they were hiking like at night?
I believe it was
Close.
during the day,
During the
because
day?
yeah, he said the sun was setting.
Sun was. Oh yeah.
So it was, yeah, a hike in the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna relate this to the other one, which
Yeah.
we gave 6s.
Which one? The other time slip?
Yeah.
3 or 4. It was 3.5 average.
Oh, okay. It was 4 and 3.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I got mine.
3, 2, 1, 7. Yeah, I just feel like slipping away from like reality.
It's definitely like scary to feel lost, especially by yourself. So right here we got story number 6. As an atheist and skeptic, I don't believe in anything supernatural. However, I am convinced that something deeply wrong is happening in Mayvan Canyon, California, near Big Bear Lake. This place, which seems ordinary on Google Maps, has a dark and disturbing history that defies rational explanation. Mayvan Canyon is a place that seems to poison minds and may harbor a very real evil presence. The federal government has cordoned off a part of this land, citing harmful radiation levels from a natural artesian well. In the 1800s, Big Bear Valley was a bustling mine community. Eric Van and his wife May, who owned a 40-acre parcel there, were found brutally murdered along with their children. May left a chilling suicide note suggesting she feared her family would eat her. In 1922, 2 brothers bought the land and ended up dead under mysterious circumstances, with one brother shooting the other before killing himself. In 1960, artist John Webster acquired the property. he became obsessed with my grandmother, believing she was a reincarnated Indian princess and that he needed to kill my grandfather to be with her. My grandfather confronted Webster and he backed off. A year later, Webster was found dead from carbon monoxide poisoning. His cabin had large glass windows covered in strange, saintly names, many of which were non-canonical. Growing up, I heard these stories, but I remained skeptical until I saw the place myself. When I was 16, I visited the cabins with my family. Both were in good condition, though one had its windows smashed. Inside, we found two of Webster's paintings, which we took home. We all began having vivid nightmares about a woman in a white dress, crying and angry. When my younger sister described the same nightmare, we returned the paintings and the nightmare stopped. 6 months later, my mother showed the cabins to her new boyfriend, Howard. He moved in and became increasingly unhinged. Eventually, he fired a shotgun at the property owner and disappeared after burning the cabins down. Despite my skepticism, I believe something terrible resides in Mayvan Canyon. I advise everyone to stay away. This place is bad ground, and if developed, it could bring misery to anyone who lives there.
Wow, it's a lot of stuff happening in the same spot.
Yeah.
A lot of murders. But it's different families, right?
Yeah, it's different families
Yeah.
buying the same land.
It could be some, like,
Bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
some bad juju on
And
the
then,
property.
like, not even that, but, like, taking something from the land. Started affecting the whole family.
Yeah.
So they put it back, and then it fixed everything.
3, 2, 1, 8.
All right, so
Yeah.
another one. All right.
Okay, so our seventh and final story is actually about a restaurant. It's called Captain's Anchorage, I believe. And it is like the number one place when you look up, is there anything haunted or paranormal in Big Bear? Like, there's always stories about this place. So it's only right to end it off with this.
Yeah.
The story is called Do You Believe in Ghosts? Spend some time at the Captain's Anchorage restaurant and bar in Big Bear Lake, and you just might. In the 40s and 50s, illegal gambling was a popular pastime, and it could be found here. Legend has it that the bookkeeper for the activity was a man named George. It is said that George was embezzling money. Here there are two theories. George either committed suicide in the upstairs office, now the captain's quarters, fearing the consequences of being caught, or he was murdered. By whom, no one knows. As to the famous Big Bear restaurant and bar being haunted, one opinion is that employees are making this up. However, a lot of these hauntings occur when customers are watching, such as the December night the Crown Royale bottle imploded, the night the Andy DaVinci room sign in the bar began swinging, the times a beer bottle would fling out of the display, the heavy footfalls in an empty upstairs, and things that happened when Lauren and Kathleen from the Big Bear magazine would come in, arriving after hours to gather material for an article. The last time they were in, they brought a psychic. The psychic said she felt 4 spirits, one of them a woman. Curiously, about 25 years ago, an employee, the first one in that day, experienced the same. She unlocked the door, turned off the alarm, went out to the bar to get a Coke, and she was startled to see a woman seated at the table by the stairs. The expressionless woman gave no response to the employee's query, "May I help you?" The employee ran out of the building, not to return until later, when other employees arrived. By then, the apparition had departed. A few years ago, one of the girls who works here saw another apparition. This one a man, walking over by the porthole door. When the Crown Royale bottle blew up, 2 of the witnesses thought it was rigged to prove this place is haunted. People frequently take pictures here. Ribbon-like objects, orbs, or even a raging fire have been manifested in these photos. Draw your own conclusions. So definitely having customers there experiencing it as well adds a bit more validity to these stories. If I saw any of those happen, a Crown Royale bottle just exploding.
That thing's strong. That thing's strong.
Yeah, you can't throw it on the ground and break it.
Like,
so.
I feel like the only way that could be rigged is with a full-on explosive. Like, that would be way too obvious.
Yeah. Also the bottle like flying out, the woman seeing the apparition, heavy footsteps upstairs. It definitely is like, dang, some crazy's happening.
Yeah. I was doing some research, and there's this lady, I guess she works there, and she either did her own investigation or something, but she basically put the stuff on a CD and gave it to this person, and they said they listened to it, and you can hear like male and women whispers, tapping, and footsteps all on the CD. So yeah, it's like a lot of stuff just happening at this place. I kind of want to rate it based on if we did an investigation there by ourselves that night.
Okay.
How scared we'd be.
3, 2, 1, 7.
give it a 9. My main one was that Crown Royal battle. If I experienced that,
Yeah.
I would. Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like there's nothing necessarily malicious
Yeah.
there from these stories.
Mhm.
So I feel like that kind of tames it down a bit, where it's
Yeah.
not like, you know, I feel like something's going to attack me per
For sure.
se.
Yeah.
So for that, I feel like going into the ghost investigation, I wouldn't be too terrified versus like going to a location where it's like, yeah, these spirits like are gonna like frog splash you from the top rope.
Personally, like we haven't had anything like physical like move or like get thrown or explode. So like right now I haven't had that experience. I feel like if I did, that would be like the most frightened I'd be.
Yeah, actually,
yeah.
But basically, that is all the haunted stories of Big Bear we have. If you want to see this again, you know, drop a comment about other type of stories, other locations that you want to hear us on, or if you just want to, you know, have us look into something else.
Let us know if you pee your pants after hearing these stories.
Yeah. Which story was your favorite?
You can give us your ratings.
Yeah. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. You know how it is.
Yeah. We're just getting started.
Yeah. Yeah. Just trying to film more videos, you know, fill in the gaps between the investigations because we are busy people.
Yep.
And it cost a lot of money.
We got one coming up though. If this comes out before that, we got one coming up and it's a good one. So
yeah.
Subscribe.
You know what? Yeah, if this one is coming out, boom, drop the trailer right now.
Oh, okay. Right now.
Definitely took a break from ghost hunting and now we're back at it.
Are you the little boy that died at 2 years old? Oh my. How about the pink room?
Oh, you like the pink room, don't you?
Do you still want me to go to the river?
Everybody?
You want everybody to go to the room. Go turn on our flashlight.
Oh my god. That was crazy. That's the first time that's ever happened.
My hair's standing up.
Thank you.
Holy cow.
Oh! Reason you want Angel? My heart's gonna be racing in this one.